honestly, I would have said stick to your guns and don't smoke weed before a show. Everything else was fine. Just don't. It's what ruined it.
Everyone, welcome Wafik Nasralla to the
Hey,
show.
hello.
We came
Thanks for
in
having me.
completely flawless. Yeah, thanks for coming
That's
on,
right.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No editing at all.
How was the Louis C.K. show?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It. I mean, yeah, it's what he does for a living, but after all these years to still be that good is ridiculous.
I mean, it's pretty undeniable. Like he's a
Yeah,
good joke writer. Put
yeah,
his personal attributes aside.
yeah. But hey, like I said, he owned it, and
Yeah.
say whatever you want. I mean, he at least didn't deny it like all the others. So,
Yeah.
um,
True. Yeah.
but the thing I admire most about him is he does jokes. It's not just stories. It's not just
Yeah.
stuff about
Right.
life. All the other comedians, like they do amazing stuff, like Jim Jeffries, John Mulaney. They talk about their lives, and it's very funny. He's doing like actual jokes, like in this last special. I won't say the joke, like the joke itself, but he does a bit about doing the oath in court, and I'm just like, that's something that you would expect to see, like, I don't know. It's really inspiring to watch him do funny stuff that's just
Oh,
funny.
man, the
You
one that
know?
I was like, man, that's so funny to do, just like the physical humor of it as well, is there's a couple sets that he posted on Instagram of him just going through the Bible. And so he's on stage in the round like arena, and he's
Yeah,
like reading from the Bible, and
yeah,
then just like get it's obviously not in the moment, like he's prepared jokes about it, but he is so good at doing that, of just making
yes,
it feel very like, well, that's fucking weird, isn't it, and then
yeah,
casually going into his thing. It's just it's years and years and years of work. It's so
yeah,
funny when people call, like, artists an overnight success when it's like they've been doing it for 10 years
yeah, yeah,
or longer,
exactly.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the, like, your word for the episode was forever. So what was it about the word forever that made you like think of that word?
Uh, it's really corny. It's
Go for it.
it is. It's the word that I love the most, that I associate with the important people in my life, my fiance, my daughters, my son, and that's because I love them forever. So forever's always been it's just an important word to me.
Yeah.
And there's nothing funny about it. It's just a word that I
Doesn't have
love
to be.
because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like everyone coming up with their own word, because I find then you can kind of look at all the past guests and be like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why that person picked that word. And then sometimes the reason surprises you, or sometimes you're like, yeah, I predicted they were gonna say that. It's a cool way to kind of like theme the podcast, which is otherwise just like comedians talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I love the idea of forever, and I always thought it was funny that when, I don't have kids, but like for people that have kids, it's like that's someone that you're gonna know forever.
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like you've just created a person that you're gonna know for the rest of your life, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if they're not in your life at times, like they've grown up and they've moved out or whatever, that piece of you is still
Yeah.
there.
Well, like I always say, all roads lead home. And yeah, there's a reason for that, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where no matter what happens, they can always come home.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Well, I was at your special taping, the one that you did at Laugh Lounge, and
Okay.
I love talking because I think your stuff is hilarious. So
Thank you.
how and it's like joke, 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 joke. When you're prepping an hour, like
Yeah.
what do you do to like prepare that hour? Like when you're going through your material, obviously like, okay, this is a 5 minute set, that's a 10 minute set,
Yeah.
it's a 15 minute set. Do you like just chunk those things together,
Yeah.
try it
Exactly.
one time, and then maybe see if there's a theme, and then move stuff around from there? Like, how do you know the first time that like this is for sure going to be an hour?
Yeah, you just sort of piece it together, like you were saying. It's like, and you get a feel for it, I think, too. Um, it's just about different, and then how like you can do a bit and then another bit, and then somehow you can actually merge them together or segue them into each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are the good ones because, and it's basically just write funny stuff and then putting it together, it just seems easy because once you know what you're doing and segues, and you don't even need segues these days.
Yeah.
Really, it's just about, you know, just laughs per minute. That's what I always go for, laughs per minute. But you also have to pace them because the audience will tire out. And I always find, and this is something that I don't think a lot of people know, but I always find when somebody goes on really, really long, after a while, their voice just starts droning.
They lose energy. I'm that way.
I don't know.
If you ever see me droning through my material, it's because I'm sick of it.
Yeah. All you got to do is mix it up, move stuff around.
Yeah, totally.
Or add a new line, just something to give it a little, punch.
That's the biggest thing I found is going back over stuff that I know works and going, okay, well, what else can I do with this? Because if the joke is like 3 minutes, it's like you're telling me that there's not more funny angles to this singular topic. Like, of course there is.
And that actually is another thing about Louis C.K. that I love so much is that he looks at a joke from so many different angles.
Right. Like, and it makes a callback so much easier because you've gone on now for 15 minutes about a topic and then boom, right back to the funniest thing at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Man, comedy's great.
It is. It really is.
I love just like nerding out about like comedy. Who were some of your like early influences when you were like first getting into it?
Eddie Murphy, I think, because everybody saw Delirious.
Yeah.
But I like Carlin. I like Richard Pryor, but my favorites came at the same time as me. They just got more successful because I discovered drugs.
We should get into that.
Yeah, because I mean, I think Louis is only like 2 years older than me. Bill Burr is like my age.
Yeah.
John Mulaney, I know he's younger. Jim Jeffries is a little younger, but they're still in my age range.
Yeah, right.
And those are the guys that I love, like more than the other guys in the previous, because they're doing the stuff that I want to do. And comedy changed. It's not set up punchline anymore. It's not doing it in threes. It's just funny.
Yeah, just be funny. By all means. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to define now because there used to be a formula, but there's no formula now.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of good, right? Because then it makes it more like complex and it makes it more interesting too for audiences because they never know what they're going to get. They don't know, like you could have like a deadpan like one-liner comedian, and then the next comedian like all they talk about is sex, and then the next comedian is like, it's a musical comedy, and like on one show.
Exactly.
It makes it so much better. We should be charging more for tickets, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, a variety show for sure.
Yeah. Even just within comedy, you don't even need like too much else. There's already so many variants in it.
It's true.
Yeah. But like, when you were starting out, what was like the thing that made you want to try it for the first time?
Actually, my brother convinced me I was funny, and I never thought of doing it, and then. It was like the first show I did wasn't good at all. Yeah. I know the biggest laugh I got. They called a lady in the front row a fucking bitch. I did a bad pun. It really shouldn't have gotten a laugh, but you don't boo. And she booed me, and I'm like, this is my first time on stage, you fucking bitch. You can't boo me. And that was the biggest laugh I got, and I'm like, I like that.
Yeah.
And then the second show, I didn't even think of doing it again. The assistant manager of Yuck Yuck said, come back. And I said, that was terrible. Why would you want me back? And they said, nobody gets it the first time. So I went back the second time, and it was good. It was really good. Yeah. But I only remembered like a minute and a half. And one of the things that they liked is that I didn't stand there trying to remember. I just said, that's all I can remember right now. Thank you. Good night. But it was good.
Yeah.
And then the next show, I did my full time. I got really, really big laughs, and I'm like, I'm addicted. I'm in this.
Yeah. Once you get that big crowd reaction, you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's so validating for your like ideas too, right? Because
Yeah,
you come up with this topic and you are like so bold to say, I think this is
yeah,
funny.
yeah. Well, hey man, how many
Yeah.
times have you write a joke and the first time you try it, it works? You're like, oh fuck, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Every
And there's
every
some
comedian.
ideas that don't work at all, and that's okay too.
Yeah, that's
Those
right.
ones are almost more rewarding. The ones that like you have been like you just can't get it for years. You're just like
Yeah,
working away at this joke, and then it goes away and it comes back, and it goes away and comes back, and then when you finally get it, it's like the greatest feeling.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Have you had any like bits like that, like back that maybe
Yeah.
you wrote early on, and then later on you were like, oh, I now have the tool set to write
Well,
this.
actually, there's a couple of things that I've said before that I thought was funny, and I just sort of sat on it. Um, like in the Putin story, where I
Yeah,
say,
that's such a funny joke.
"Oh, thank you." What it was is the I had this line a long time ago when Arabs were terrorists about things we couldn't get across the border, and one of the things they always asked was, "Do you have any fruits or vegetables?" And I was like you're really like
Yeah.
shouldn't you be worried about guns and stuff? And
Yeah.
it never really worked. But I had that line, do you have any fruits or vegetables? And then it came into the Putin story where it's like, you know, we don't eat garbage like that, like the
Yeah.
Putin. And I'm like, you eat deep fried butter, you know? And
Yeah.
then
You won't
and
even let me into the country with a
yeah,
tomato.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
what do they ask you before you can cross the border? Do you have any fruits and vegetables? They
Yeah.
don't want good shit going in. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's where it came in. And I was like really happy when I was able to bring that line in finally.
Yeah. That's an awesome case of writing the punchline first.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Which is usually the opposite problem. Sometimes you have like the best premise, but you're like, I don't know how to end it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
how do
yeah,
I make
exactly.
this thing like come full circle on that? Do you have any
Exactly.
like tips on like if I were to look at like a list of premises that I had in my phone or like just even like brief ideas? Do you have like not a formula but like a practice or something that you do to try to work out like Greg Stone when I was talking to him he would write out like 20 funny like retorts or endings to whatever the previous thing was and then seeing like is there anything in that. Do you have something along those
Yeah,
lines?
I let it bounce around in my head, and I just sit there and I go, okay, why is this funny? And then I just keep saying something, and then something will come out, and I'm like, oh, that's good, and I'll write that down. Um, Usually, like a long time ago, I used to sit with my brother, and we'd go on just a drive, and I would just open up my notebook and tell him my ideas, and then I'd start riffing while he's driving. He's like, "Dude, that's great." So I'd write that down. Lately, it's just
Yeah, that's good.
I'll write an idea and I'll send it to my brother or my fiance just to say, "What do you think of this?" And sometimes, because I started getting into some edgier stuff lately. Uh, there's a few things where they're like, this isn't going to work. I'm
You're
like,
like how
not
about
every show.
not that one.
Yeah. No, it'll work. It's just not every show. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, just on the X-rated shows.
That's right. Yeah. And we do that.
Yeah, that's so fun. That's so funny though. If like your brother was always the person that you were like saying the jokes to, and then there's a joke about your brother. My brother's such a terrible driver. He's like, hey man, what the fuck? It's ridiculous. Oh
I
shit.
think he liked driving because I'm blind on this side. So I was
Yeah.
always in the passenger seat. And when he'd pass the joint, I would never see it. So he could smoke most of it to himself.
He's like, I was passing to you the whole time. You kept refusing.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't
Hey,
even look at it,
you
Woff.
don't even want it. I don't care.
Oh shit. Now, real question, and it's okay if you don't want to talk about it, but I think it's actually super fascinating. Did any of the drugs help write really great jokes that you still do today?
Honestly, I will say this. If I didn't do the drugs I did, I would not be living in Ottawa. I definitely would have been in New York or LA or something. And like there's some people that can function on drugs.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't even think of like and I know there's a lot of guys that smoke weed and they think that it's fine. I know you can write jokes, you can function, but you're never 100% on stage when you're high.
Yeah, it's always
And
delayed. It's
yeah,
always delayed.
and the problem for me was it was years of it. So
Mm,
there were years that I was just plateaued and I was flatlining. And I mean, every now and then I'd have a good show, but and I think I don't know why I got the work I got because I wasn't as good as I should have been. I think once I quit, it took a little bit to get used to being on stage not high,
right.
and then
But you were
things
still
have been
getting
clicking.
laughs.
Yeah,
I'm not defending
yeah,
drugs,
yeah,
obviously, but I'm saying,
yeah.
I'm saying like, because sometimes there is that like, well, everyone has that sort of like inner artist critique that's like,
Yeah.
everything I'm doing sucks. And
Yes.
I actually think that that is like a sign of like someone who really cares about their art and is good at it, because what that means is you have such a high bar for what you think is good that you're going to keep pushing yourself to try to make it to this level of what you think is the best of your
Yeah.
art form. You
Well,
know?
I think that I actually like the stuff I'm talking about now. I like what I'm writing.
Yeah.
I'm having fun with it. And yeah, I'm all over the board and I love that. I want to be edgy. I want to be stupid. I want to be, I want people to think and I just want people to laugh.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to say something that I said a joke last night and the crowd pulled back. It was awesome because I won them
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I like that too, like just the ability now to just sort of like lean into the type
Yeah.
of comic that you want to be.
Yeah.
And
And I
I'm
mean,
for sure when you like when you got sober as well, of course your brain is going to be like sharper on stage. You're going to be able to think better. Like, yeah, 100%.
yeah. Yeah. I'm having more fun. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I love being on stage. I can't get enough. Like there was a time when I was high where I just wanted to be high.
Mm-hmm.
And this stand up was actually just a way to keep getting high.
Because you're
Because
always
here,
around it, right?
well,
There's always
exactly.
somebody there
Yeah.
with a
Well,
joint or some type of
no,
drug,
no. Here's the thing about comedy.
coke.
If you tell people you're doing cocaine or you do cocaine, cocaine magically appears at the end of the show. And 9 times out of 10, you don't even have to pay a penny for it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's no wonder, man. Like I mean, Dave Chappelle was talking about Hollywood back in like of how people will go to Hollywood and there'll be these like bright stars. Like you look at somebody like a Britney Spears, goes to Hollywood super young, and her life is just fucked right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like she is not well. She
Yeah.
was like very like abused and fell into the
Yeah.
wrong sort of like, and I think it's just whenever there's that much like
It's
perceived
fame at a
pressure,
young
the
age,
fame
too.
of the pressure of fame or like
Yeah.
any of that sort of stuff, it's so easy to have people around you where you could just be like, yeah, I want coke, and then it's just there for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to be the one that's like, I'm okay. I don't want to,
Yeah.
But
Well,
like,
that's,
it shows up night after night after night. You're gonna be like,
yeah.
okay, well, I'm gonna try it this time, and then fucking drug addiction.
Yeah. Exactly. And here's what I always mask the addiction by saying I'm not doing it at home. But I mean, I was always on the road at that point.
You just stay on the road
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was a stretch where I honestly had no
Yeah.
fixed address. Like I would come to my mom's house in Ottawa and just crash with her for like 2 weeks, and I'm
Yeah.
back on the road again.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I lived in Toronto and I was
Never
paying
there.
rent. Exactly.
Oh wow.
I swear to you, I wasn't. I'd pay rent, I'd get drugs, and then I'd come back to Ottawa to eat.
Yeah, it was your refuel spot.
Yeah. Back then, the gas was affordable and food was
Oh
affordable.
fuck. Yeah.
I
Remember
know, man.
64 cents, 70 cents a liter.
Hey, I remember 50 cents during COVID. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
I remember there was a brief period when it hit like $1 and everybody lost their mind and they're like,
Yeah.
how dare they?
Yeah.
And then they kind of pulled back and then it dropped as low as like 45 cents in some small towns. And
Yeah.
then well past $1 easily. Like
Yeah.
it's really a joke. It's unbelievable. I went to like a no frills because I was like, oh, maybe I can like, find some good savings here. Everything has a Loblaws label on it, and it's the exact same price as Loblaws.
Yeah.
I
It's
just
true.
just with yellow paint.
How
Like
many times you
it's so insane.
have you ever walked into the meat department and you're looking at steak and it says $45? You're like, who the fuck is buying this?
For
Like,
real.
what are they doing if
Why
they
is
can't
beef
sell this?
$10 a pound?
Exactly. And who, if they're not buying it, what's happening to it after?
Uh, there you
Like,
go.
would they rather throw it
Literally,
out
they'll
than
throw
sell
it
it?
out.
Yeah, throw it
It's
out than sell it for a lesser price.
it's insane. I saw some
Yeah.
statistic where it was like in the past, like whatever, before COVID, like within a 28-year or a 20-year period, like 1 million Canadians had gone to food banks. In
Yes.
like the last like 3-4 years alone, it's 4 million.
Yeah.
Like
Man, and there's tent cities in Canada now.
it's
I can't even imagine that in the
even in
winter.
Brockville, there's homeless people now.
Yeah.
There was never homeless people in Brockville. Like
Yeah.
how could you make any money there? There's like nobody around ever. You know, it's not like
Yeah, I
Toronto
know.
or Ottawa or Montreal or a
Yeah.
high traffic area where you could, make some money and find a shelter. There's no shelter in Brockville. Not that I
No, there
know
isn't.
of. Like, if there is, they closed it. Like,
It's my buddy's shed.
yeah, it's whatever shed you can find. It's like so sad, man.
It
Yep.
is. But
Politics
you're
have
back
to.
in Toronto now. You're
Yeah.
in really expensive.
Yeah, but I mean, you just do what you can. Like I just,
Yeah.
you just.
Well, how much is rent there for you? I'm still just a little under 1,500 because I
Oh,
got in here just before the
nice.
big. Yeah.
Everything I
So
saw that was like one bedroom was 2,000.
yeah.
So
Wow.
it's like, and it was like I was seeing basements going for that much. It was really insane. There was like a shoebox for like $2,500, and I was like, oh my god, I can't.
Yeah.
Like and you know what's crazy is like they used to be able to get away with that, but now developers are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars because they have purchased like, let's say there's a new build in a certain area, like Harborfront or something. They build a new condo, and they only build it when half of the units are sold. So a lot of these like investors, foreign investors, or like local real estate people, agencies and companies, they'll just buy a bunch of units, but they don't even know really like what the layout is going to look like. And
Yeah.
then when it's built, they're like these really unlivable places where like the bedroom is in front of the door and you have to walk around your bed to get to
Wow.
like really insane. Like I've seen the strangest like layouts for
Yeah.
these condos ever. And they buy them for like $1 million. They don't
Yeah.
spend like a little amount of money, and they're promised all these things like, oh yeah, you're gonna be able to rent it out easy. It's in a great area. We're building it all up, and then they can't rent it, and so they're stuck paying vacancy taxes.
Wow.
And so they're like, well, fuck it, just sell it. But nobody's buying, so
They can't.
they're dropping it like $400,000, $600,000. People are just losing on these $1 million investments. And it's kind of like, all right.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Well, at least Carney said he's going to build like 60,000 new modular homes.
I
It's
know
going to be
there's a lot
called
of
Tent City Plus.
yeah. I know there's a lot of people that aren't Pierre Polyev fans out there, but he said something that was awesome.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
He looked at Carney and he's like, "How are you more financially illiterate than that drama teacher?" That man, that's a mic drop.
Yeah. You want the banker to at least be a little bit smart about what he's
Yes,
spending
exactly.
the money on, I think that's why Trump even gives him like the time of day, because he's
Yeah.
like, Trump is used to talking to bankers.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
he
that's
talked to
true.
him his whole career. He had to get loans and money and buy real estate and all this stuff. So he knows how to negotiate with a banker. So
Yeah.
at least with Carney, he feels like this is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
business. We're gonna do
Well,
business.
Yeah, because he's used to dealing with good bankers, so
Yeah.
bad bankers are a breeze, man.
I saw this tweet that went viral today. I wonder if I can look it up. It was like the government of Canada said, "Are you like looking to move to Canada? Come on in. We have like free healthcare or something."
Oh,
It got a million views, and all the comments are like, "Bro, I don't have a doctor. Like, what do you? Why are you telling people to come here? It's not Canada isn't a walk-in clinic."
no, yeah. I mean, all the if you want to be a doctor in Canada now, you move to the States because
Yeah.
there's a cap on how
You
much you
can't
can
find
make
it.
here.
Yeah, it's actually insane. Like I know so many people that don't have a doctor, and it's
Yeah.
like it felt like growing up like that was just one of the things that like just everybody had, you know? It
Yeah,
just made
yeah,
sense, but
yeah. But now you walk into anything and there's hundreds of people. It's like anything else. It's like going to try to get your license and stuff.
yeah.
It's yeah,
And people
it's
are like there was a lady, I think it was in Winnipeg or something. She waited like 11 hours cuz she had an infection or something on her leg, and she waited 11 hours in like an ER, and then they had to amputate her leg off
because they waited too long.
cuz they
I'm
waited too
sorry.
long.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have
I
laughed at
was
that,
like,
but oh man,
what else do you do? You're just
yeah,
like, that's insane. There's got to be some sort of like triage that these people are going through. But I think, in their defense too, the hospitals are run like businesses.
yeah,
So if you have like a certain amount of nurses that are, let's say, not underqualified, but can't do as many things as like a nurse that maybe went to university, they're going to lay
yeah,
off all of those people. And now suddenly they're understaffed, and people are being told they need to do, 2 to 3 times more than what they're already doing.
yeah.
It's fucked.
Just like everything else, really. Yeah, exactly.
It's like actually insane. Do you think you will write like a themed hour on just drugs? Like
Yeah. Well,
yeah?
it's not
Because
going to
we
be a
talked
thing
about
that
that
it's
a few times,
yeah,
but
yeah, exactly. I realized like there's a lot of stories and there's a lot of stuff I could do for the drugs, but I also want to talk about getting older because there's a lot of
mm,
things going on and I'm starting to fall apart and I'm starting to look at the world through I hate to say it, but through my parents' eyes now.
yeah,
Because all those things that I said I wouldn't do and all those things that said I wouldn't say, I'm saying because it's just that way.
mm-hmm.
But it's worse now. I mean, it wasn't woke back when I was a kid. You watched Archie Bunker. It was on TV.
I
Everybody
grew up
watched
on
it. It
Archie
was
Bunker.
yeah. It was a well-written show that
Yeah,
won Emmys. Now you got a disclaimer about language and content before every episode.
yeah.
You know, I don't know why like we progressed with so many things and then stopped with so many others.
I wrote a joke the other day about this very topic about
Yeah.
how I can't even go to Indigo or Chapters anymore because they're censoring the hell out of all the books. Like, you got to try to read Huckleberry Finn and it looks like the Epstein files.
That's great. Yeah, he wasn't there.
Yeah, no.
Wasn't there somebody in Huckleberry Finn that his name or the name they gave him was the N-word?
Yeah, it was literally just the N-word.
And they even like written out and it
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
full
yeah.
word all the way to the R.
It's so jarring when you see that now. Like
Yeah.
even watching like an old movie from the early 2000s. Like what was it? I was watching Idiocracy and I was like, "Oh my god." Like these lines are crazy. Like it I think it's because it's so like casual when you
Yes.
watch that
Yeah.
because you never hear people talk like that anymore. That
Anymore, exactly. But
that you
back then
hear
it was
it. Back
fine.
then, it was totally like it was in the script. Like they wrote
Yeah.
it that way. Those were the words that they wanted to use. And yeah, I really think there is something to like very freeing about getting older, where you get to the point where you're like, I'm just gonna fucking say
Yeah.
how I
Yeah.
feel, whatever I
Well,
want to say.
see right now like I'm trying to tell people how different things are like
Yeah,
back in the 70s. This is just 50 years ago. Being gay was illegal. Like there were jokes about like how like if you're gay you're going to go to jail because it's illegal and then you're going to get in
yeah, yeah,
in the shower.
yeah.
So and the crime fits the punishment or whatever.
Oh
So
my
that was a joke on yeah back then. But yeah, and it just I want people to understand because they don't understand. They were born, and they think that everything that they know has always been this way.
yeah.
But things were different.
Well, that's the I think why destroying any type of like media or book is really insane, because I'm like, let it just stand for itself, like
Mhm.
if people find it offensive, at least allow someone to come to that conclusion on their own, you know?
Yes.
And it's an important piece of history even to be like, look how far we've come in
Yeah.
terms of public discourse. Like, we've become a much more civilized people because we went through this hard struggle of, okay, we need to figure out what's good, what's bad, like, so that people aren't fighting. I mean, it's just gotten more divisive as a result, but A, for
Yeah.
effort, you know, I understand what the intention was. They were trying to make a more civilized society in their eyes, right? More accepting and everything like that. So let those things just stay though, because then it's just an example of where
Well,
you've come from.
exactly. You can't pretend it didn't happen because then you didn't progress.
Yeah, you'll just forget then and go right
Yeah,
back to it. Like,
exactly.
yeah, it's crazy. That'd be like, could you imagine if someone who was trying to quit drugs did it like that, where they just like, they're like, okay, I'm finally sober. And then they're like, hey, what's this mysterious white powder over
See,
here?
see,
Just completely forgot.
yeah. See, that's kind of the problem for me right now because I quit and all these drugs look amazing now.
They're so different. They got new
Yeah,
packaging on them. Yeah.
there's like 4 million different kinds of weed.
Yeah, you should compare that to, like, you imagine if you quit like doing heroin and then in 5 years there was like heroin cafes everywhere down the block. You'd have a hard time too, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's so hard. Like, oh my God. Especially people that have to quit like alcohol. Like that is infused with society. That
Yeah.
has to be like one of the hardest things.
Honestly, it was weed for me
Yeah. Oh, weed is
because
very
like
social as well, and especially now.
it was like the hard drugs. Like you just stopped hanging around. You deleted
Sure.
phone numbers. You did like you did things that helped you get away from it.
You
But you
unplug
also,
the plug.
yeah, exactly. Alcohol. I mean, I I quit because there's honestly, okay. There was a Christmas that I had a lot of shows and I was working a day job and I did really well. I was really happy with all the presents I bought everybody in my family and all the, and like I thought it was great. And I still had a little bit of money left, but not as much as I thought I should. So I looked at my bank account and I spent over $500 on booze in 3 weeks. And I'm like,
Damn.
I'm done. I'm gonna go till New Year's Eve. New Year's Day, I'm done. I'm never drinking again. And then
Wow.
that's how I did. I had a relapse when my mom passed away, but that was only for like a couple of days. But
Celebratory.
9 years sober, man.
Wow.
And yeah, 10 at the end of this year. And it was that awakening where I'm like, no, I can't waste money like this,
Yeah.
especially when you got kids. I mean, and especially when I'm getting older.
Yeah,
I,
and
I
it's for
can't. I
something that is killing you. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you're willfully just like spending money on something that's slowly like,
yeah,
working away at your liver or whatever else.
that's
Like,
right.
it's just proven that alcohol is just so bad for your body.
Yeah, yeah. And I decided it's everything. I'll quit everything at the end of the year, and I did. And then yeah, hard drugs was fine, booze was fine, weed dragged, man. I wanted that shit, and everybody that always said it's not addictive. I don't know if it's addictive, but it's a lifestyle, and
Yeah.
it's part of your lifestyle, and it gets in you, and being around it and just wanting. There's many times where I was just like, yeah, one puff wouldn't hurt. Just
Yeah.
feel that again. And then once you get past that, you never want it again. I'm at that point now. I
Yeah.
could be like, I didn't go outside to hang out with comedians when I knew they were smoking a joint because I knew the temptation would be too great.
Yeah.
Now
You
I
just
can do
stop
it.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to. Yes,
Yeah.
but I'd say for the first 9 months, it was a battle.
That is a great amount of time to, like, I mean, it stays in your system for at least
Yeah,
90 days. Like, it's in your
yeah,
bloodstream.
yeah,
THC, if you were to draw your blood, they're going to see THC in your blood. So it makes sense that it would take like a while to kick, because you're also kicking, like, it's so ritualistic,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and in any form. Like I used to like smoke bongs all in my 20s, and I always had like a bong. And then at some point it just was like, this just like I'm definitely doing drugs. Like if you have to smoke something out of a pipe, you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
just felt like ugh. And then you'd
Yeah.
be coughing your lungs out, and I'm like, that can't be good either. And then you gotta clean this thing. It became a chore. So
Yeah.
it's like its own little ritualistic thing that you're like taking care of. Rolling up a joint, that motion of just like rolling it and getting it prepared, passing it around a circle. Like there's so many parts of it that are like you have to just almost like people say this with cigarettes too, or if you're trying to be a runner, even let's say like you want to
Yeah.
start running every day, you have to almost like identify as a runner. And
Yeah.
so, like, as a sober person, when you have a craving, you have to identify yourself as a sober person. So you say,
Yeah.
well, that's a weird thought to have as someone who doesn't smoke weed.
Yes, exactly.
Why would I be wanting to do that right now? That's, you know what I mean? Like, almost make fun of
Yeah.
yourself for like trying to give into it or something.
Yeah. But it's for what drugs is different than cigarettes. But the way I approached cigarettes was one day at a time. And then I went like 3 weeks without a cigarette, and then I had one, and I was like, "What the fuck did I do that for? I was doing great. Why would I go back to this?" So then I quit again, and then that stayed.
Yeah.
But it was that reminder that you're doing something good here. Don't
Yeah.
have a relapse.
Yeah. You were doing great.
Yeah, I mean, like there's life does things. Like my mom passed away, so then I got
Yeah.
back into a couple of things, but that was just quick, and it was not a good way to deal with depression, but it got me through it.
Yeah.
And then I realized I got to get out of this before I have a real depression now.
And it feels like something like that you can control a little
Yeah,
bit. Because
that's
you're
right.
like, I'm going to, on purpose, alter my state of being right now
Yeah, yeah,
because I don't want to think about what I'm thinking about at this moment. And this is
exactly.
familiar to me. So it's like, you can't even really blame someone when they have, like, especially in a traumatic moment like that as well, too. It's like, man, willpower can only go so far. Like, and
Exactly.
I don't think it's supposed to. Like, we're not supposed to be these like stoic people that don't feel any emotions or like don't have like a reaction to something. It's like who's actually like that? Like, literally, like no one is actually like that. So to be like, I don't know, worried about that at all, you're like, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm just gonna pull up your social media here for people to give you a follow. So you can go on Instagram and it's at the WAF7, and they can also check out your album on Apple Music, wherever you listen to comedy albums.
It's on
Show
everything,
Myself Out.
actually. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's on everything.
Spotify, everything. Yeah, even platforms I didn't know about.
Like all these new, like Beezer.
Yeah,
It's on Beezer.
yeah.
Some random platform.
Yeah, I got on with DistroKid. They took care of everything.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, I guess that's like a mass distributor too.
Yeah.
And Waf, there's one question that I always ask all my guests to sort of like end off the podcast. And the question is essentially, what advice would you give to your younger self? But I want you to think of you at 15 years old. Like who you were at 15, where you were.
Honestly, I would have said, stick to your guns and don't smoke weed before a show. Everything else was fine. Just don't. It's what ruined it. I had so much momentum, and the second I started smoking weed and going, because the first time I did it, can we talk for a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, the first time there used to be a Yuck Yucks in Mississauga, and there was a Sunday show that sometimes happened, sometimes it didn't. Back in the day, it used to always happen. It was always sold out, but things sort of die off a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was driving to the club with Stan Thompson and a guy I don't talk to anymore, and will not say his name on here. I'm not capable of hating, but I don't like this guy. Anyways, they convinced me to smoke weed. I didn't want to. I always had this rule: as long as I don't smoke weed before a show, then everything's good. Yeah. And I liked it. I was always tight. I always knew my shit. And then they're all like, dude, there's only gonna be like 20 people. Just smoke a joint. Don't worry about it. So I did, and the set went great. And but there's adrenaline. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then you get in your head, I can smoke a joint and do and perform. And
Right.
that's the
You're like,
first
it's been
show is
tested.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The first show is fine because you had adrenaline. You know, you the next one you let your guard down and you never pick it back up again. So I
Right.
would just say never smoke. Actually, if I could just say never smoke weed, period. That's the one piece of advice I'd give me. And the
Wow.
one piece of advice I'd give anybody coming into comedy now, try to work and be unfollowable. You want to make it in this business, you got to be the best you can be. You want to be what people want to come back and see.
Yeah.
People go like it's really cool when you watch the early days of like Louis C.K., Bill Burr, and Jim Jeffries. They all like they went from small theaters to big theaters and now stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
You watch them grow. Their fan base grew with them.
Yeah.
That's what you want. You want people to keep coming back to see you. That's the goal.
Right.
And you do it by being funny. Don't worry. Don't listen to the noise around you. Whatever you think is funny, whatever's working for you, that's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of put on those blinders, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like, don't be a hack and don't steal.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah.
write your own
Common
shit.
decency.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Write your own shit, be
Of
smart
course.
about it, and then
Yeah.
and have fun. There's no reason to be a miserable twat when you're doing the
Yeah.
funnest job in the world.
Yeah, it's out there telling jokes. It should be the best time ever.
Yeah.
Well, man, I had a good time chatting. I appreciate you setting aside the time to get this podcast done.
I
But
hope we do this again, man. This is
yeah,
great.
of course, for sure. Come back whenever you want.
Come back whenever you want.
Oh,
Honestly, you're the host.
yeah, true. I'll invite you on again. Don't worry. All right, good night, Waf.
All right, good night, Charlie.